Big thanks to my producer for the cue in there. Had absolutely no idea what was going on. Oh, wait a second. I'm completely muted.
Okay.
I'm muted.
No.
I flamed Max. I flamed Max so hard because I just couldn't hear anything. I was like, Max is not queuing me in, and I've realized I was muted on Discord. Max, I'm sending this apology out to you right now. I'm an idiot. You're not an idiot. Also, big apology to Trick. Trick tweeted at me, and I went a bit red in the face when I read it. They said I was reading from the wrong script. So actually, I've got the correct script around here somewhere. Ah, yes, here it is. Tricked won the series. Okay, right. This is obviously the Fnatic versus Tricked series. We have got another best.
You also want to tell us how they did that, Excandro?
Yeah. They've got another best of 3 series coming this way. It is Fnatic versus Tricked, of course. This is our second series in the upper bracket as of yet. And of course, Fnatic do come in as the favourites, clearly, but not so much as the favourites that I fast forwarded time and Fnatic won, but favourites a little bit in the way that XL did coming in here as well. Now, I do think Tricked looked good. And I think they've looked better as well throughout the second half of the split. But we'll have to see if they've got what it takes to, again, step up their game against a very strong academy team.
I kind of want to take my statement back. This is going to be the game that's going to be the closest, not the other one you just watched.
Right.
We're not going to have the same sort of that. This is going to be way closer, all right? Solo laners from Trick, Nili, Poulsen, like the best you can get. Obviously, you have star player Archu, AD carry down there, and Baloo, you have to ban Thresh against this guy. I mean, Fnatic, they are going to work for today. It's going to be really close. We got no stomps.
Are you done?
Yes. Here you go.
Okay,
I just wanted to be the devil's advocate a bit, you know?
Okay, cool. Because Fnatic is clearly the superior team here. They're bringing Febiven in, who has been a rock for his team. Ever since Pride joined after this one game that they lost, it has all gone to greater good, right? It's all gelled together. The team is working together much nicer. The 2 losses that they had, they weren't stomps. It was just actually them losing to, a couple of mistakes that they can fix. The bot lane is extremely dominant. Rux and Maxi move around the map a lot. Bean is just so consistent down the bot lane. Comes out of the lane, an absolute monster. You want more Goldborg. You still went for the 2-0. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true. But that's in my brain. But in heart we say Tricked. In heart we say Tricked. In heart we say Denmark. All right, and the rest of the guys out there knows that.
Denmark.
We say Denmark. Yeah.
You said Denmark.
Why you gotta mock my
Denmark.
accent, man? That's kind of messed up.
What is the Danish thing that you say where it's something about Denmark? Say it.
The white and
say it all
red?
the time. No,
What?
you say it all the time. It's like a Danish phrase that he says whenever he says Denmark. Like Denmark is strong or something. What's that? You have a
White
Danish
with
phrase.
red or something? Something like that. I don't know.
For helvete.
Wow, you can't curse on air. That's a curse word in Danish. What are you doing?
No, it's not. No, it's not. He's flaming me. Okay, right. Okay, we have the picks and bans. I'm going bright red now. Wait, what? Foxy, you've just done it to me now. Oh, no. Okay,
You popped that, by the way. I'm not reading anything Foxtrot types. Nothing.
No, I should never read what Foxtrot tries. What is that? What is it? Oh. Foxy! Oh my god. Okay, right. We are into picks and bans, and it looks like there is a first pick for Fnatic right.
Okay.
How does it fit?
There are many things that are open. All of it open. The Azir is open.
It means like something about Denmark. It's like
the Caitlyn that we saw in the previous game being banned is open and insta-locked.
Okay.
There we go. I brought it back.
There we
Take
go.
it away.
There we go. We're back in. Gulbog, say something.
All right, so okay, what picks do we have open here? I was gonna say, because this is a champion that's probably gonna pay a lot more influence in this game. Poulsen and Febby are great control mages players. Like, Azir is definitely a champion to keep your eyes on, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's just being handshook with Corki coming in. But I'm interested to take a look onto this Caitlyn. Usually it's paired up with something like Morgana, the Locks, or something where you can create lane kingdom with those traps and the combos you can create. And right now, there's really no champion that kind of, what do you say, contester in a range outside of the buff Jinx, but it is going to be the Jhin coming in here, and that's an immobile ADC. I'm curious to see what kind of support they're pairing up with Caitlyn.
I kind of really like that because they do see the Caitlyn, and then instantly what Trick does is reply with distance. They got the Azir to split up the fight with the soldiers, and they also have the Jhin who can play from much further away than the Caitlyn can. So I do really like the instant response coming in from Trick. They're gonna play a more save the ADC type of bot lane with the likes of the Thresh. I do also like that as well. I would have preferred what Gulbok said, the Morganas, the Karmas, the Luxes, but at this point I think it's much more important to keep in mind that the Caitlyn needs to stay alive if they're gonna go for that ADC conquers all composition from the side of Fnatic.
So the final pick on the rotation is, I have been looking for this phrase online, Gulborg. I'm sorry, I can't find it. You'll have to tell me it one day. I'm sorry. I
have no idea what you're talking about.
I think it's the one that says something about dynamite. We're red, we're white, we're dynamite.
We're dynamite.
Like
yeah, that's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
That sounds.
You know it. You
familiar.
say it all the time.
You guys are really.
You're trolling us.
He's trolling. He's trolling. He's
actually
legit trolling.
No, they didn't. All right.
Okay, wait. It's Nunu.
Flipper. All right, Flipper is a challenge. Used to be Challenger OTP on this champion specifically, where we just spam it the whole time. Recently gotten Challenger again on the champion, and it's a champion where we've seen him with Phase Rush in earlier seasons, but also just with Flipper specifically going Predator on this champion in former seasons as well, where we just sprinted down a lane, and you're not used to Nunu coming from these different places. Like, you have to always be wary when you're pushing forward, and that's going to be interesting when you have a Caitlyn who loves to like push forward in the lane, get these early plates. But Flipper back on to comfort here, so that's going to be interesting. And straight out the bat, we start banning out the junglers that are still left. Olaf could be a potential jungler as well, just because he blocks the snowball when you run in, and that's a kind of a counter to little Nunu here. And at the same time, maybe some top laners starts to get banned for Fnatic Rising.
Yeah, also potentially you can look to ban something like an Elise. I'm pretty sure we are on the new patch. We're playing on the new patch. The jungle has been nerfed quite a bit, which means the Spider Queen can actually come back for some early ganks. Caitlyn loves to tower dive early. She has the traps, like Gulbok mentioned. She really likes to push the lane. I don't really mind here. I think this is mainly why the Thresh was left open and picked from the side of Fnatic, because when the Nunu comes in, it's really easy to stop the snowball and then reposition the Caitlyn back into safety. So I do really like the pick right here from Rux. And yeah, I just really want to see what they're going to choose to go for in the top side of the map, because Renekton is still open, Camille is still open, Nilla really favors his bruises up there.
I was going to say, like, in a lot of situations where junglers are starting to be pinched, Maxi would default onto Graves, but Graves has been taken away here. So Maxi going to have to be pushed out a little bit further in that champion pool. There are quite a few junglers taken away, as you guys have correctly mentioned. Olaf, I believe, Olaf is still upright. So, you know, we could still see that picked up. We'll see where Fnatic choose to go. I think they've got a relatively strong bot side here. They have a good, strong blind pick for Pride in the top lane. We could probably see, like, you know, Azir already picked. Maybe we see the Azir Corki for Bivin in the mid lane. And then we just have to wait for that jungler.
I'm really curious about the Leona pick, because it's a pick where you don't have much to do in lane when you're playing against Thresh. Every time you go in with a Senate blade, you'll just be flayed out of it. So this is a champion that will only be valuable outside of laning phase. So with this Jhin, that is not something we're playing towards. So I'm hoping to see that every egg in the basket is going to be towards topside now, when you've got a facilitating AD carry like Jhin, when you got the Leona who won't be able to do much against Thresh. I want to see Nilla shine for Trick if they need to take this game.
Oh, baby, triple lane prior lanes for a Karthus jungle. Mwah. That Fnatic draft just keeps getting better and better, because when everyone is going to start itemizing, because this Karthus will hurt if he goes unpunished, and due to the fact that you picked Nunu and a farming lane bot and a farming lane mid, the Karthus will actually farm and he will become huge. And by the time you've started itemizing for the Karthus, the Caitlyn is going to come in to absolutely destroy you on the 3 items. You don't necessarily have too many heavy tanks playing in your face. You've got a Nunu that can be stopped by traps and the gravity field. Leona, Gulbok said previously, once she's in, and they can actually deal with her. That Fnatic draft is gold.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see Karthus picked up when you don't have like a 1-3-1 or a solid split push strategy as well. Because often people pick Karthus to be that second man in like a 1v1 in the side lanes, but this time they're just going for pure teamfight presence. Like, you know, you have that combination with the Victor just for pure, you know, AOE damage and presence in a teamfight situation. I think this is a very interesting draft from Fnatic. Definitely something that we haven't seen a huge amount of recently. As we're winding down the draft, obviously, Trouble, you've just given your thoughts. Gilborg, what do you think about the sort of the two drafts that you're seeing?
I think a lot of it's going to come down to the execution of Tricked here. You got some picks where you can work around the early game with some Nunu ganks, but I don't. If you don't get those ganks ahead, the scaling on the side of Fnatic is just going to completely dismantle you. So you have to make it work with what you have secured through this draft.
Well, we'll see. We're going to our second series. Hopefully, we have a bit of a closer affair than our first. We'll see if Tricked are up to the challenge of taking on Fnatic. Going to be fixed. I've lost. This entire segment has been complete.
Heaper and Foxtrot, take it away.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Come on, Scandal. Don't be so self-defecating. It's okay, mate. We're getting ready to go into our second series of the day. A very, very solid 2-0 win from Excel to start us off. And now we'll have to see whether or not Tricked can punish and contest versus the reigning champions of the NLC and Fnatic Rising. Albeit this is a different roster for Fnatic right now.
Yeah, but Fnatic have looked, no surprises. Our sister LEC teams have looked really, really strong in the LEC, finished top of their group. And we are getting a little bit of a curveball here, I would say, for game one, where they're bringing out the Karthus jungle.
Well, the Nunu as well, mate.
There's also that
exciting right now.
You know what? Actually, both junglers are out of their mind in this first game of the series. But I like that, you know, maybe bringing out a little bit of more comfort here, especially from the side of Tricked. I think that's really important because they're on like a 5-game lose streak, 6-game lose streak. They're really not in fine form right now. And you know, comfort's important for turning that around.
Absolutely. I think one of the big things for this game for Tricked is to show us that they are that team we had at the beginning of the split, because they had a much stronger start. And it has been on a bit of a downward spiral, and they're kind of stuck in tailspin. They've made it here to the upper bracket of this double elimination tournament. So, you know, a loss to Fnatic isn't the end of the world. Just like Barrage, they would go down. But if they can find a win here and go into the upper bracket finals against XL, that's a massive confidence boost. And it's also just a massive show that this Tricked, you know, has kind of gotten out of this rut that they've been in for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is a tall task, though. It is a very tall task. It is Fnatic Rising, the standing champions. Although I think it's fair to say this Fnatic isn't quite as oppressive as we've seen in the past few seasons. The disappearance of Magic Felix and Xmati, it's a very different form of Fnatic.
But a strong Fnatic nonetheless, and definitely going to be a difficult game a difficult series for Tricked to pull out on this one. And I agree with you. You're going to get level 1 fight here in the bot side. Just a little trade going off, with the aftershocks negating most of that damage. Archu, those going to take a bit of punishment there. So not too much to write home about, but I just want to emphasize what you were saying, Jake, is the whole kind of concept of just trying to get something for Tricked. You know, you don't have to have the expectation of, you know, coming up against one of the best teams in the league, just smashing them in your first best of 3 in playoffs. Just show us something, you know, and don't show us something, show yourselves something, you know, like Tricked really haven't been able to produce as of late, and that's something they definitely want to change.
I think also coming into this split, just kind of going back to Fnatic a little bit, you know, we looked at the roster changes and we had high expectations for Rux. Rux has been on the regional scene for a while now. Maxi, another player we all know. Feathervin, obviously everybody knows who Feathervin is if you've been following Europe or, you know, NA for a certain amount of time. You'll know who this player is, but the player who I personally, and, you know, Orcs as well, and a lot of the guys on this broadcast had concerns about were Pride. And I think it is completely fair to say that Pride has probably been the most consistent player on Fnatic Rising this split. Everyone's had a good split for Fnatic, but Pride is honestly doubly so. He didn't drop a game until his last week, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I do have to say he didn't show up for the first 2 games of Fnatic this split. But that's because he couldn't play. That's a joke. You can laugh if you want, but you don't have to. But outside of that, I definitely agree. I think Pride has really impressed me, actually. this split. Considering the names that you've got on Fnatic Rising, I would say Pride is not necessarily one with the expectations coming into the split that he would be like a huge carry for the side of Fnatic, but he really has been. And I've been really impressed with how he plays, and having that consistency in the top lane is really important in order to like just stabilize the rest of the map and allow the rest of the map to play the way they want to play.
And, you know, we're all waiting for one thing in particular, and that is tomorrow's matchup, which will be XL versus the winner of this game. We haven't seen Fnatic versus XL all split long. And that was a match we used to see once a week back when we had the tower format, back in the dark days. And I think that's where we get to see a real power test of these teams, because during the UKLC spring, so this time last year, XL were undefeated in the regular split. They had an amazing start to the split, and the Chew's going to go very low here, not going to die. They are bringing down the Nunu though, so we might have to hold this fort, as not going to get him with the biggest snowball ever. And going back to that point, XL were on an undefeated spree, and they got defeated by Fnatic, who were arguably looking weaker than them at the time.
The reverse sweep as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a reverse. It might have been a 3-0. I can't remember. It was a year ago. I can't remember what happened yesterday. Let's be real.
That's fair.
So, you know, this will be the first test of these teams if Fnatic can win this series. And I think for them, that is their goal. Just get a 2-0 like XL did, get into tomorrow's games, and get a 2-0 versus XL.
Yeah, the expectations, the pressure is definitely on Fnatic in this series specifically, but playoffs are always a different beast. As you pointed out, things can happen in playoffs. And Pride here, the man we were highlighting earlier, just getting a nice trade up onto Nilin. He's going to be recalling here on the Aatrox as Fnatic, seeing that they have that priority in both mid and in bot, it's going to go for this easy peasy dragon. First dragon of the game.
Yeah, it's kind of free real estate. They're able to take that one. No contest coming down, and 5 minutes into the game, definitely a lot less action-packed than we had it previously. Febby gets a good flash off, but the biggest snowball ever is going to follow him underneath the tower. And now Febby being cooked down. Flipper takes a tower shot, takes a couple of tower shots, but Polson takes first blood.
That was a bit surprising for me from Featherven. He's a veteran player. I thought he would have smelt that play coming out, and it looked like, to begin with, he did. Like, he flashed the Polson engaged with his Azir ulti, as if he knew something was coming, as if he knew there was going to be follow-up, but then just walks back up again and gets caught out by Flipper there, who, with this Nunu pick, has managed to pull off that early gank and given his mid laner a bit of a lead.
Just a quick update. I was wrong. I just checked. Tomorrow isn't the upper bracket final. It is going to be our lower bracket. So these are the teams who aren't in Last Chance Saloon. Who are in Last Chance Saloon. So tomorrow, it won't be XL playing again. I think that's the day after.
But either way, it might be something we can look forward to in the coming days.
Yeah, exactly. It's you know, for a lot of us UK fans, it's something we've been waiting for. Well, UK and Nordic fans, we've been waiting for to see the kind of rematch between the two academy teams.
Definitely. Obviously, always a lot of eyes on those two teams, but yeah, Fnatic are going to have to get through this game to begin with, the series to start with, and they are 500 gold down right now. A good start out from Tricked. Obviously, that first blood's going a long ways to help them out, and they do have pretty decent scaling on their team, you know. And the thing is, like when you look at the lineups from Tricked and Fnatic in this draft, Jhin is a champion that sometimes can be considered not a particularly efficient or effective carry. I may have to hold this thought though, because this wave is pushing in. Yep, there's the lantern. Respect
there's
flag.
The flash. They've got the pool of pain. They've got the traps, and Bean cashes in on the kill.
Easy as that. Fnatic Rising are going to get even up on this kill totals here. Push that wave under tower, but I'm not going to be able to bully Chu off of the tower, so we won't miss any of this, but still good to get some gold in the pocket of Bean. But just to go back to the point I was saying, like Jhin sometimes has a reputation for not being the most reliable AD carry, like proper carry AD carry. But against this team comp with Fnatic Rising, they're not particularly tanky. He can definitely do a lot of damage to these guys. And the Chu, honestly, overall for the side of Tricked has been very, very good. I think honestly, a Chu is is up there as one of our best AD carries. As far as like statistically, Trick relies a lot on Achu to get wins, and I really think that he does a lot when that responsibility is put on his shoulders. So always someone to keep your eye on in this bot lane, as right now it's very even against Bean on this game.
Noon Quiver finished up for Bean, while Achu's obviously gone for the Swifty boots. Wants a bit more kiteability from Rux and his hooks and flays and all of that. They'll be getting shoved in pretty hard here. We do kind of expect that when you're in the Azir lane, mid-side, especially early. Victor wants to get the augment on the E and then can kind of one-shot the wave from there. But before that E gets augmented, Paulson will basically always get the shove.
Something I also think that's interesting about the jungle picks, because it's actually quite relevant to what you were saying with whenever you're talking about mid laners and shove and priority, it always relates to jungle picks because junglers rely a lot on those things in order to make plays happen around the map. If you don't have prio, there's a good chance you can't leave your jungle, you can't secure objectives, scuttle crabs, go for ganks. But if you do have prio, then obviously the inverse is true and you can go for those plays. So picking the Azir always gives you priority. It's one of the reasons why it's such a strong pick right now in the meta. Scales really well too. And as a jungler, it just makes your life a lot easier.
Rux is in trouble. Has got the flay, dodges out on the solar flare, hit by the brigade snowball lever, gets that flay off, puts down the box, and now Bean trying to save his support, unable to do so, but Baloo has to flash away from the wall of pain, and curtain call by Achu. He's going to land a couple of shots, and Fnatic lose their support. Great little pick there from Tricked.
That was really well done there from Tricked. Again, Aka Flipper here, who, as Goldberg mentioned on the desk, is a very, very prominent Nunu player. Used to be a Nunu one trick in solo queue. Bringing out his comfort pick, and for a side that has struggled recently in the NLC. They started off 5-1 and finished 5-5, which really is suboptimal. Really, really suboptimal for a team that we were touting as perhaps the third best team outside of BTXL and Fnatic. But just to get a good start here does mean a lot. Trick needs to be a little bit careful because Maxi is showing tendency to hover around the bot side of the map here. He does like to do that.
He's got the Rift Herald.
Rift Herald, so yeah, he might look to actually take this tower down. You know, hit this this fourth plate off, and then just slap the Herald down, and they use it to take the entire tower. There it is.
Yeah, and you got those headshots from the Caitlyn as well. These towers do go pretty quick. Not like a Tristana, but it's still pretty effectively, and that should be enough just to secure first turret blood for Fnatic. Gold split between Bean and Maxi. Rux isn't in the area. That's very smart. Make sure that you do get the gold onto the two people who, you know, need their items. Trouble hit on it on the desk. With the Caitlyn, you're kind of looking for that 2 free item spike before you really come online. The Fnatic now looking to get themselves a Cloud Drake. I actually like a Cloud Drake here. Get the Requiem up as much as possible, but now they're looking for Rux. Once again, Rux is on the receiving end of all of the attention. Maxi dodging out on the solar flare, but caught out by Flipper, and now he may just lose his life.
Wow.
Might just be the dragon now picked up. Fnatic being a little bit too greedy.
That was a curious play there, Jakey boy. I'm not really sure what to make of that. I mean, you see that control ward there, right? In that pixel bush in the river. I see it. I think you see it. Everyone at home can see it. Unfortunately, Rux can't. I don't know whether that's like, was he mega tunneled on something? But
I missed that before the play happened. I actually did not see the fact he was standing on a pink ward.
I honestly, it's to the extent where I think I'm wrong. I'm not. Look.
No, it's yeah. What?
Look, what's that about? Aaron just walks up to him and stuns him. Like, I really, that's confusing. And you know, when you're, yeah, I don't know. That's a bit of a head scratcher there from Rux. He gets caught out really quickly, and then when he's put in the dirt, it doesn't take much for Maxi to follow suit. So that's going to be 2 kills and a dragon over to Tricked, who are going to accelerate and continue this pretty good early game they've had so far against Fnatic.
Now, Bean has finished up his Gale Force because of all that gold he got from the tower plating, first turret blood as well. Got an entire item over Achu right now. Is down currently in experience though, as Achu got that kill in his pocket and has been able to kind of deal with the waves, and Bean had to split a lot of gold with the fact that Maxi's been sitting around with him, so that's where the experience deficit's coming from. But for now, the moment it's about the gold. They don't really care about the experiences. Maxi once again up in this lane, and this time Bean's going to be the one to get some more solo plates. They are just injecting so much gold into this Caitlyn. You can see
Yep,
the gold on the individual leads right now. It is a 1,000 gold lead to Bean.
Yeah, that's matched in the mid lane there for Polson versus Febiven, but it's a really good. You know what? I think Nili may be in trouble here.
I think Nili might be in trouble. I told you, Pride is consistent. There's no tower for Nili to run underneath. He's getting a lot of healing while the World Ender is up, but Pride's about to gnar out. Nili actually doing some pretty significant damage here now. World Ender times out, and now Pride just needs a little bit more before he gnars out, but he could get caught out.
Remember,
there's the
there's
full shot from the
Carthus
Darkened Blade. Pride doesn't catch that boomerang, and now he's hopping forward, gets the stride breaker, gets the slam. There's the wallop. Pride with the kill, but it was a lot closer than it maybe needed to be. Baloo caught out by the wall of pain as he looked for Rux, but Bean is going to collect in on the kill.
Ooh, that was close. The fight on both corners of Summoner's Rift right there. It looked like maybe Nilo was able to turn that one around onto Pride, but not quite able to find it. He's going to pick him up in that solo kill, in that 1v1. You're going to see the tail end of that play as Pride is just waiting, as you say, to gnar out, waiting for that gnar bar there. He also has the backup of Carthus ult if he wants it, but he doesn't need it, so he doesn't call for it. Flash wall up into the wall and just comboing him down. Whereas on the side of Tricked, I'm not quite sure what the what the play is here. Like, what's the call? This is way too much. I don't even think you win this 2v2. And you don't even know where the enemy jungler is. You don't have backup for yourself as well. I feel like, you know, Fnatic's done a lot of funneling into Bean, but in that play, it looked like it was Tricked just funneling the gold into Bean.
Yeah. And speaking of funneling gold, Fnatic are looking to pick up this second Rift Tower. Now, obviously, the plates fell off a minute ago, but they could translate this into a mid tower, into a top tower. We'll see what they want to do with that. I assume mid is probably going to be the play. There is a big snowball coming in.
Looks
Here comes
like
the post-it notes. Can he get close enough to steal it? Great hook, and actually is going to get secured by Maxi. He picks it up as she's going to force the flash out. Bean trying to make sure that nobody else goes down. Maxi caught out, but meanwhile, a big fight's breaking off as Pride gets himself caught into the hook, into the gnar. Polson slides forward as Polson gets himself a kill. The laser beam's coming in from Featherton. Polson, though, still so healthy, and same for Nili, but Bean on the tail end now has to flash away as he gets caught. But now Nili, World Ender's timed out. Febby gets the laser beam over the wall. Bean should be able to survive this one, but Polson comes in with a shuffle. The lantern is there for safety. And Tricked tried to get the carry, but they were unable to do so. Although Bean now has to be very careful as he's getting caught out. Jumps back with the 90 caliber net.
oh man.
Polson and
Yeah, I bet
Lily are
Tricked picks Carthus
dangerous.
now. Look at that. One Carthus ulti. They play to swap the junglers here and bam. That's at least a double kill right there. But no Carthus here, unfortunately, for Tricked. They're playing Nunu instead. Man, this fight was crazy. It all started with trying to secure that Rift Hold. Obviously, Nunu is very good at stealing away neutral objectives because he can consume and smite. But unable to pick that one up and goes down pretty quickly. But because this is a fight on two fronts, it does enable Tricked to go for a favorable fight on the bot side, which they can then use to get the resets on Aatrox and continue that fight. And they almost made it work for them. They almost made it work, but not quite. But we're going to get something happening here as Tricked.
It might just be Rux losing his life happening here. No, they've got the lantern to make sure Bean's out of anything. Meanwhile, Baloo just gifting over a bit of a freebie. The hook lands by Rux. He's going to jump onto Flipper. Has to flash over from the box, but here comes Pride with a stride breaker onto Nili. Nili able to survive that one, though. No gnar bar fully stacked, and Pride dodging around the deadly flourish. Fnatic are looking to get their hands onto this dragon. They should be able to do so. They are doing it on vision.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any contest on this one, though. So Fnatic are able to pick up their second dragon, I believe, of the game. Getting this this mountain drag here. And Tricked honestly just overstepping. Like, it all started because they walked into the into the bot side jungle from Fnatic. And they didn't really have any reason to be there. Didn't have a pass to go through there. And without the pass, you're going to get kicked out. And that's exactly what happened. Baloo didn't even have to flash. He can't survive that one. But this is, it's smart play by Fnatic here to punish Tricked when Tricked are overstepping. And honestly, this is it. This is what separates the good teams from the bad teams. It's not necessarily if you fall behind, but it's how you play and how you react to falling behind.
Watch you! He's dead.
He's dead. Blimey. Oh, dearie me.
Oh, Flipper almost caught out there as they do summon the Rift Herald. Paulson's too slow to be able to deal with this, and that tower's going to go down. They may look for a second charge, actually. Is almost got the tower without the charge actually being necessary. They are going to find that second charge. There's no way Trick's are going to be able to handle that one. That's a lot of damage put into that tier 2 in the mid as well. Thanks to Shurima will go up from Paulson, though, to make sure that they have a bit of a...
It's not as good as a real tower, unfortunately, though, Jake.
No,
real tower in mid there it's dead. That's going to open up the map there for Fnatic to walk a bit deeper in the jungle, into Trick's jungle more specifically, and put down a little bit more vision. So you can play with more safety. You can see if Tricks are ever trying to rotate on top of you. And here we're going to see a Chu core out here. It's not even that much, really. It's a bit of greedy passing, though, to be perfectly honest, to take that route when the rest of the map is dark, when you can't see what's in the river. I do think that is pretty greedy, to be perfectly honest with you. But look at that gold difference in bot side. That is actually phenomenal. It's almost 3,000 gold at less than 20 minutes into the game. That is just absolutely absurd. That is a crazy diffy right there down bot side. Caitlyn now sitting 5-0, 500 gold bounty, working towards her 3rd item. And poor old Chu doesn't even have his 2nd.
He's in Struggle City.
He really is.
Lord Dominic's picked up on to Bean, so they're going to be able to deal with these tankier members. So Fnatic, remember, are kind of playing these fights front to back. Not really able to dash through, even though, you know, Caitlyn now has a double dash with the 90 caliber net and the Gale Force. Maybe he's just going to catch this wave here in the bot side. And Fnatic not dropped a single tower yet. They have been able to take out 2 of Tricks. Now, Trick can be happy with the fact they have secured themselves that 2nd Drake. Does mean that Fnatic aren't one-off soul. And it is a Mountain Soul as well, so one of the less impactful Drakes, but does also mean people like Bean are harder to kill once he gets enough resistances stacked up off the back of it, and also that shield.
Yeah, I agree. I think Mountain Soul, it's not Ocean, it's not Infernal, but it is something. And as you say, it will make the carriers a little bit harder to bring down, which will always be nice when your carry is as fed as Bean is. I don't think he's lacking any damage right now, so getting a little bit of survivability will always be nice if Fnatic are able to claim that Mountain Soul. And honestly, something that I've noticed in this game as... Oh, goodness gracious me. Again?
Yeah, I think that might just be the end of Baloo, unfortunately. Bean 6-0-2.
You've got to respect it. Legit. I mean, they even have vision on Baron. They know Fnatic aren't on Baron. Like, what are you trying to contest here? What is the purpose of walking up there? I know you're trying to get vision down, but why do you need that right now? You know? I just think the risk doesn't outweigh the rewards, considering how high that risk is. And oh my good gracious me, Paulson's in a bit of a pickle. He knows it though. He's going to TP out.
He's teleporting. Maybe wants to wave. I think they're quite happy with that.
Yeah, they're out for sure right there. Paulson having to blow a cooldown to get out of that one, which is, you know, he doesn't die, which is nice. But having said that, like, he was split pushing bot because he had TP, which meant that he could join a play towards the top side of the map, you know? So the fact that that's now down means that he won't be able to as freely go towards the bot side of the map. Maybe they have to switch their lane assignments a little bit. Maybe Paulson either keeping him mid or put him top or something like that. But I would be surprised if they can go for bot side. And look at this TP by Febby. Okay, they're just looking for the setup here, or the flank from me. Yeah, okay. Well, I know Dragon's spawning. That was a little bit hypey there. Maybe he could have just sorted them out of lane, but we'll see.
He's looking for Pride, although Pride can just hop away and Flipper's post-it note splat against the wall.
Tricked. I know what they're thinking, but they can't. Don't do it. Don't do it.
It's 3-0, so it's actually fairly strong. Rux is getting caught out once again. Goes for the hook and does land it. Here comes the Requiem. The Gnar back as well, as Flipper's already lost his life and Maxi's chasing onto a Chu. Chu's forced away. Chu's burning low. Tricked might not be able to do it, but I think Fnatic might.
I think you might be right on that one, especially considering the only person that died for Tricked is their jungler. How else are you going to steal this one away? Tricked are going to have to go for this team fight, but the health bars aren't even low. This is just going to go down, but then they did dedicate a TP. Just back away, lads. Trade it for the dragon or something. You don't You can't stop that. You can't do it. See, this is too late, you know, at this point. Now they're looking to go for the dragon. Actually, it might not be too late, but to be fair, like this is now more risky because Fnatic, you know, they could have just gone for this as well. You know, they could have gone Baron and then just stopped this dragon from happening. And I think, you know, at least Trick gets it. That's nice. But, you know, maybe they should have just completely ignored the Baron and gone for instead. But still, we're going to see this engaged fight onto the Braun side of the map. Good hook there by Rux, followed up by the Requiem. As soon as you see the Requiem going down, you just have to back away. It's one of the strengths of Karthus. Like he was in the bot river because he was looking more towards Dragon side, but he's still able to have meaningful impact in that fight just because of his ulti.
And now we can take a look at where we are item-wise as Infinity Edge finished up for Bean, Leandri's Banshees onto Febiven, Void Staff Leandri's onto Maxi, Stridebreaker Sterix onto Pride. All of Fnatic on 2 items, bar Bean, who's on 3, and still remains an entire item up over Chu. Chu's got that Collector in his inventory. Febby will lose his Banshees to Flipper, but there's a Lantern to keep him safe from Rux, so Febby's quite happy to continue to push this in. Got that Baron buff still as well on Fnatic, so they're going to use this to shove in to these towers and just blow the gold lead even wider.
I've really been impressed with the way that Fnatic have played this game because it's so not Fnatic style. The way that Fnatic have built leads and won games previously in NLC, it doesn't really tend to look like this. Specifically with the way that Bean has been able to put this game on his back and just do such strong work. You know, he's not really the primary carry. Like he's not the one to make it happen on Fnatic, but this game he really is.
Pride! Flipper bends it like Beckham, and Pride is going to get himself caught out. They get the absolute 0 off as well. Pride, the Sterix is on, and Flipper's getting turned into. Bean doing so much damage. Can't quite find him. Yes, he can. Here comes the Requiem. They have the ulti from the Kate as well. If somebody gets a little bit lower, Bean will be able to find the ace in the hole. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Febiven shoving away.
Febiven just having a grand old time up there. Chipping away at that top tower. Looks like it's going to go down relatively soon, but see Fnatic winning that team fight out. Trick looking for the opportunity to turn this into a 4v5 so they can try and defend. Not going to find it. Paulson, though, does have his ultimate still up.
Febby's still pushing top lane.
He's doing his thing, contributing in his own way.
I have to get that voice down. The meanwhile in the Temple of Doom. Meanwhile in the top lane.
There it is.
It's so bad.
I mean,
I did a good Michael Jackson impression the other day.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not going to attempt it again. I'm just going to note that I did it.
Okay.
It was sick, though. Ask Orcs, he'll tell you.
Oh dear, the ego, it needs
So we got to have something, all right?
Yeah, that's fair. And if there are any Michael Jackson moments, you know, in this league game, then I will happily wait for you to pull out your impression and you know, deliver us from evil in that sense. But as far as this game is concerned right now, I don't think there's too many smooth moves going on.
That is a speedy boy.
That is a speedy boy. He's even got a chem tank as well, so he's a very speedy boy.
It feels like now Tricked are waiting just to get some items on a tube, but I don't know if they're going to be able to. They have got all of their inhibitors still standing. Luckily, they didn't lose any inhibs. Although maybe losing one inhib would have been okay, because then you'd basically just have a constant lane shoving into you. To kind of collect in on that extra farm. Bean's going to take out that tower.
Honestly, like at this point, you can still turtle up if you're Tricked. Like you do scale pretty well, and more importantly, there's no immediate pressure for you to leave the base, because Dragon Soul, it's not up just yet. Like, yeah, you can lose this dragon. It might not be optimal to put yourself in Dragon Soul point, but it's not Dragon Soul. You know, you can still sit and spawn and chill out, and it looks like Tricked are going to go for an engagement to Bean here.
Yeah, they are looking for him, but the hook's great by Rux, catching onto Flipper. Bean able to dodge away as a massive Requiem. Going to hit onto these Tricked members. Ace in the hole came in from Bean onto Flipper, just to chunk him a little bit. There's a lot of damage actually connects into Maxi. Fnatic just go back to farming after that.
Yeah, this is all good. I honestly think like it's not a terrible look there for Trick to try and go for that engage. You know, Bean and Rux are pretty far pushed up, and the way you punish 1-3-1 is, you know, you do have to engage on someone. And also, I think what's quite important there is that Pride was at like 0 Narbar, so there's no way that he's going to be able to join the fight and just obliterate it. So, you know, I feel like as far as windows go, that wasn't a terrible window to look to engage. But obviously, it's really hard to do that against Thresh. It's really hard to pick people out of position, and it doesn't quite work that time. But still, they don't die. They don't lose anyone. So Tricks can just keep going back to farming and trying to scale up until they can match the strength of Fnatic.
I think Tricks are kind of like, they're not okay with the game's state, but they're okay with the game's state, if that kind of makes sense. You know, they've not lost their inhibitors. Their base is, yeah, not in the greatest form, but they've been able to catch on 2 dragons to slow this game's pace down. Achu is trying to catch up in gold, but I mean, he is 4,000 down to Bean right now.
Yeah, and it is slipping away right here from Tricks, because it's not just Bean you have to worry about now. I mean, look at Maxi. Maxi was on like a 4k gold advantage as well over Flipper, which is to be expected, you know, Karthus over Nunu, but basically at this point, you know, Fnatic have just diversified their threats, and that's not great. It's always a lot easier, well, it's not great for Tricks, I should say. It's always a lot easier to play against like one person that you've got to worry about. You know, maybe if you can just catch Bean, then maybe you can win a fight. No, Maxi now is really big as well. Almost at 3 items in that card.
It's like jumping into a pool, expecting to fight a shark, and it turns out there's an alligator there as well, and you weren't prepared for that.
Yeah.
That's my analogy of what you were just talking about.
That is absolutely what I was trying to say, and I think you said that so clearly. I should have just said that to begin with, to be perfectly honest.
Honestly, the people at home would have understood what you were talking about if you'd said it like that. Now,
yeah.
Febi's just going to do a bit of gatekeeping. And Febi might feel the price here. They do get the hook off, but Febi not even feeling any damage here. Here comes the Requiem as it's going to rain down. Baloo slides in, but Bean is doing so much work. Nilly, are you okay? No, you're not. You're going down. And now it's onto the front line. Baloo taken out. Bean gets the double kill. Paulson goes to the shuffle back on the Maxi. Able to find himself the kill, but it's a triple for Bean. Now Flipper on the run. Bean chasing for the quadra kill. Can he find it? Yes, he can. Achu's the only one standing. Fnatic rising. Might be looking for their pentakill here. Achu has been revealed. Achu will look for Featherton. Bean gets a pentakill!
Pentakill for Bean! Traditionally not the carrier Fnatic, he says, screw that, boys. I'll carry you this game. 12-0 and 3. 5 kills in that last team fight. My goodness. Bean right here just, totally rewarding Fnatic for putting their trust in him this game, funneling those resources into him. They're going to win that team fight. They're going to get this Baron. Fnatic.
Febi?
Baloo? He's still got this. He's still got this.
Oh, here comes Nilly. Run, Febi, run! Oh, he's got the slows. Oh, no, he doesn't. He's in trouble. Here comes the post-it notes.
Oh, that was close, though.
That was a passive-aggressive post-it note. Febi, you've been microwaving fish in the office, and we're not okay with it.
It wasn't even his fish. Worst part about it.
He's stealing fish and microwaving them.
We're going to see this team fight happen one more time. I don't need to tell you guys, keep your eyes on Bean right here, because he is the man of the hour. He sees Nile teleporting into the top side and it's like, you know what? I've got to be a bit afraid of this one, because Nile, Aatrox, and Bruisers, they're kind of scary. I'm going to take him out first. Unfortunately for him, he's able to also, oh yeah, look at that, even ult Fiona. That's very nice. First, the Fnatic able to keep Tricks busy enough for being really, honestly, as far as it goes, like this has to be one of the, I mean, I think he last hits like 4 people.
He just walks up and kills her. Like,
really
it's
does.
Just 5 right clicks and that's the pentakill. He's now full build. And he's now getting engaged onto, but it's so hard. He hit a trap flipper, no! Not like this. As the final turret not guarding a Nexus has crumbled, Paulson desperately erects the sand tower, whatever it's called. Sun Disc. There we go.
Also some soldiers coming up there to try and defend as well. But I don't think soldiers and that tower is really going to be enough right here. As Nila is jumping in.
And Febi's tapping out. Now, Pride being chased down. Bringing the post-it notes, just going to hit the minions as Paulson has to be careful. The Chaos Storm's been summoned. Able to slide and glide away to safety, but Febi now just playing frontline for his team. The inhibitor in the mid lane will go down. Fnatic playing this game by the books. All of the inhibitors down. And now an exposed Nexus tower will crumble. The fight's going to break out, and it is last chance saloon for Tricked. Baloo already chunked out of the fight as in goes Pride with the stride breaker, looking for the slow one to chew, able to get it, but the rest of the team, they don't even care about the fight. They just want to tie up. They just want to close this one out. Bean going legendary. Bean doing so much work for Fnatic Rising, jumping away from Nilly. Here comes Paulson with a shuffle. The shutdown's going to be enough, but Paulson inside the bounce house, being bounced back into Fnatic's waiting jaws as they take game number 1.
Really impressive game there by Fnatic. It looked a teeny weeny bit hairy to begin with. Tricked were able to get that early advantage, but it's a sign of a quality team. You know, if you can fall behind early and still find ways to pull out the W. And honestly, a bit untraditional from Fnatic there, playing through Bean in the bot side.
Yeah, I think, like you said, kind of diversifying the style up of Fnatic and playing through their bot lane. Something we haven't seen all split really from them, not since Xmati was on the team. So it was nice to see, you know, Bean put that game on his back and run with it. So fantastic stuff from that. Now we're going to throw to a break and we're back with our second game of this. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to be back with the analysts to talk about that. We'll see you in a second.
education, other kinds of wealth.
Welcome back, everybody. Fnatic, not as dominant, I would say, as the XL games previously. However, they were able to take control of the game, specifically Bean really stepping up on that Caitlyn first pick. And, you know, when you put that much stock into a blue side first pick, it better work out for you. And it clearly did for Fnatic in this game.
I mean, yeah, for sure. Bean really coming up clutch, and I think Foxdrop said it a lot on the caster desk as well, which was Bean is usually not the guy we have to carry. Usually he's just playing chill down in that bot lane while Rox roams around the map with Maxi, but that was not the case this time. It was Bean's turn to actually show up, and I mean, he sure did, coming in with this Caitlyn pick that we really haven't seen in the NLC yet, but probably are going to see more of after today's game.
I will actually agree to disagree here with Foxdrop, because I believe that Bean has the quietest laning phase for how much of a monster he comes out of it. So I believe that Bean is a really big part of Fnatic winning games. He always carries. He also had like an incredible Kai'Sa performance in the group stage. He's had very, 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 very good games, but it's like he goes under the radar. He's kind of like Reckless Senna. He will go under the radar. He'll get all the resources he needs. And then when you see him in front of you, you're like, where did that come from? Because that was a 6 or 7 tower platings Caitlyn pre-minute 14, 5-0-2 joining the team fight. And you're like, okay, please don't look at me, because I'm just gonna fall over. He was just monstrous.
And I kind of want to take it to Trick, because you said X-Guard earlier, it's definitely not as dominant as the XL game. And I think we talked about they need to make it work in the early game with what they had. And Flipper did a decent enough job. He had 100% kill participation pre-15 minutes in the game. So all the kills that actually came out was through Flippers. But problem was that they just couldn't translate it into something where you were able to snowball through the Seer or anything like that. The Aatrox counter pick didn't work out either. And as soon as you kind of just passed that minute mark where not XL, but Februin was online and Bean was online, there's just not much to do. And I think it's going to be a tough mental reset for Trick now, because they had their curveball ready. They're like, okay, we got this Nunu pick, they're not going to expect it, and it didn't work for them.
Something that Trouble mentioned when we were watching is that the resources that were given to Bean, no one tried to stop that in the early game. Like, Bean got 3 turret bot side, Bean got like 4 plates top side. Like, they were just giving Bean those plate resources. And even though actually the rest of the map was in a deficit, Bean was keeping Fnatic relevant with a 1,500 gold lead, I believe, over his opposite number at about sort of 14, 15 minutes into the game. So, I mean, is that something that needs to be attacked a little bit more? We've talked about the strength of Achu and Balu in the bot lane. It felt like that never really was kind of given much credence in this game, and I feel like Fnatic were just able to get away with just giving Caitlyn resource after resource.
I kind of felt like that the whole game was misplayed, because when you have an Aatrox and when you have a Leona Jean lane, there's like so much setup right there for all the ganks, and it just ended up being the Azir having the kills on him. He was like constantly Lulu in the mid lane. They were pressuring back Febvin. Febvin's playing a Victor. At some point, even if he doesn't get fed, with Caitlyn so far ahead, with no one keeping her in check, all you need to do is just put a gravity field down, and your Caitlyn is going to be safe. That's literally all you need from the Victor. And Fevin was like, cool, I'll just absorb all the pressure, let Bean get fed.
To me, Draft also said we don't want to play for bot lane early if you're tricked, because they picked Leona into Thresh, and then you're not playing for laning phase. Jin was also there not to contest the laning phase, but be a facilitator for the Azir later into the stages, where he hopefully could scale with the curve, so he still had items to do something, but that just wasn't the case. So if you want to contest Bean, you certainly have to do something different about the draft, or you have to attack harder in the top side, so you have a strong side that can contest the strong side of Fnatic.
Well, obviously, Tricked have gone for red side again here. So obviously, Fnatic were blue side. Previously, Tricked have gone for red side as their second game. Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me, Trouble. We do indeed have a play of the game to break down. I always forget. Please do.
All right, so here I'm just going to showcase how Febiven doesn't really have to do anything here, but just put down the gravity field. So basically here Fnatic are all set up for Baron. If we pause this right here, they are trying to get vision. They've got their vision around here, and they've got their vision around here. So they're good. They know exactly when Tricked are coming their way. So they've already started the Baron, and as you can see, Flipper does have his flash available, so he can actually try to flash into the pit. But if I stop it right here, you see that Febiven has put the gravity field down so no one can cross to come this way. Very important, the Aatrox is TPing from this side and Bean is all alone right here. So what Aatrox wants to do is isolate the carry from Fnatic so he can't join the fight while this fight is going on and the Jhin can free fire for the time being. So gravity field goes down means Jhin cannot walk in, and as the fight is going on this side, if you look on the other side, Nille is walking in into Bean. It means that if the Caitlyn cannot free fire here, the fight is lost for Fnatic. But that's not the case, because when Nille walks in, he walks into a 5-0-2 Caitlyn and a gravity field, meaning that he has to back off instantly. Bean gets to free fire, he kills off Baloo as well, and then he literally free reigns the entire rest of the team fight. And actually, later on, manages to get himself the pentakill as well. He actually flashes for it too, that's how much he wanted it. So it was really well played. It was a very messy fight, shows why Fnatic win, because there were 10,000 gold in their lead right here. So it was the right sort of call from Trick to try and get in there. Nille made the right call. GG well played, unlucky because gravity field.
GG, well played, unlucky because gravity field. I like it. That's a good summary of the fight overall there, Trouble. Of course, we have more games in this series. Now, Fnatic did not look untouchable, a little bit like XL kind of did in their games. Maybe Tricked can reflect. And again, we talked a lot about this inter-series adjustments. Maybe we see something from Tricked in this next draft to give them a little bit more, I guess, some better tools to kind of try to attempt to take Fnatic down with. We're going to go to a short break. When we're back, we'll have that champion select for our second game of the night.
Sunsets, high rise, you know you're on the floor, diamonds, good light, walking the golden door. Everybody knows that you want it more, more. Ice cold to the touch, we're gonna burn it down, bodies so hot until we hit the ground. Everybody knows that you want it more, more. She's not my
We're back. Second game of the series, not the day. Second game of the series coming your way here for
Second series of the day.
Second series of the day, second game of the series. There you go, Trouble. Absolutely. And Tricked obviously chose red side again for this draft. And again, I guess they must feel they'll be able to adjust their strategy. Nili is getting an Aurelia respect ban against him here. We'll see how the ban phase transitions out, but I expect Caitlyn to likely be on the chopping board for Tricked.
So that's the thing, right? Either you want Caitlyn banned, or you say, I think we know what to play against Caitlyn. Beforehand, when you're playing weak side AD carry, as we saw that the Jhin kind of was doing here, it was Sivir into Caitlyn. Would also have been nice into the Thresh as well. So maybe that's something that there is on their mind if they're not banning the Caitlyn. But I always find it really hard for a team to suddenly readjust to a champion that has not been meta for a while. So it might be easier for them to ban it unless they're feeling confident. And right now, their ban seems confident. No Caitlyn ban, but obviously still one ban left.
Azir banned away here, so that was kind of the only thorn in Fnatic's side in the previous game. It was Poulsen's Azir that was actually doing relatively well in the game. We'll wait to see what that final ban is for Tricked. Of course, as you said, if Caitlyn is not banned here, you have to be relatively confident, but it is going to be seeing Caitlyn banned away. Now, Maxi has the pick of the litter in terms of junglers as well. With Udyr really being the only one that is banned in this situation, he can go for Lilia, he can go for his Nidalee, he can go for anything really that he wants in this situation. So I actually expect a first pick for the jungle in terms of Fnatic.
Yeah, you can either do that, or since Maxi really does favor his AP junglers, you can either first pick Kai'Sa if you want to. Bin has popped off on Kai'Sa before. But that being said, I do believe that the reason they do ban the Aurelia is because they do want Pride again on that Na, and with the Lilia paired up, it's a really nice duo up in the top side. So I don't blame them for snatching the deer already.
Question is going to be like, how are you optimizing the draft or adapting now if you are Trick? Because now was something that played a lot of impact in terms of how Trick drafted beforehand. They would always love to blind pick that, but this time they're going to take the Thresh for Baloo. And statistically speaking, not statistically, but traditionally speaking, Baloo used to be a Thresh player. Like in the Telia leagues, he was a Thresh player. He's always been fond of this champion. He's been considered as a one trick in the past, but I don't really think we can say that about him anymore. And question is, are we still going for that Nunu now that you know what the jungle matchup is, or are you going back onto something else? And it's going to be another Flipper classic. He really likes these champions where you run in, you press one button, and you get a CC down. And that's going to be hard to play against if you are Fnatic, because now you have to pay a tax, the infamous QSS tax.
Yeah, and it looks like it's more comfort for Tricked coming into this. Like they had a different strategy in mind when approaching this second game of the series. Like you said, Baloo, super comfortable on the Thresh. Flipper, as you said, a bit of a classic for him. Pride going to go for the blind pick Na again. Essentially asking Nidalee to play into him. It didn't work out on the Aatrox. Maybe Nidalee considers something more like the Camille this time round. Like there are options for Nidalee in the top lane.
Here's the thing, last time they chose to prioritize getting the Azir for Poulsen, but this time around Azir is already banned. So I think it makes the most sense to get that get that top laner down, just because both teams have not picked their AD carries either. So if you're pinching down the AD carry pool, well, you're also going to be pinching down yourself. Both teams have neither picked their mid laner, so it's also going to be pinched down, and you have the first pick as Trick. So I think it makes more sense to get your top laner here and then start to think about the other roles afterwards.
Oh, and they very clearly wanna sort of throw their hands up, because Gangplank is a very late game scaling, also top laner. He does well into anything because he has his range with his Q. He's got the HP region with the mango, orange, whatever it is that he's eating with his W. And I kind of really like that setup from Trick. So it's kind of like, okay, so it's like they're setting up their board and they're like, we've got engage, we've got disengage. We've got a way to break the fights open, which is the Gangplank ultimate. We've got a global if we want assist and teleports are down. That's great. But like Goldbob mentioned, the ADCs are going to be pinched down, all the mid laners are going to be pinched down, and Tricked are the ones that have first pick and counter pick. So I just really want to see where Fnatic are going to take it here.
Yeah, it's really interesting because obviously both teams yet to pick the same roles, and that means this second ban phase is going to be really interesting. It kind of gives you a little bit of an indication about where the team's priority is lying. The Kalista being banned away, Kalista has been rising in priority a little bit throughout the last few weeks. it's going to be the Rise. So it looks like Tricked are saying we're pinching mid lane. Fnatic look like they're going to just pinch the AD carry pool. I suppose Tricked now have that pick of the AD carry that they may want to go into in this point forward, and then they have that counter pick in the mid lane if they want it as well.
Yeah, so what would make the most sense here is just that you 4th pick that AD carry. You already had the counter pick for top side. You knew what you were picking your jungler into, and you potentially can have the counter pick for mid lane here as well. So this red side is already really paying off from the side of Tricked Esports, and it's going to be interesting. The priority for now is really going to be something in-game that we'll have to see if it's going to pay off. Pride didn't have any issue picking it beforehand, but back then he did have bans towards the other top side. But wow, the AD carry really matters for the rest of Tricked here, and I think it comes down to if they go for a hard engage comp, they want to go for the Sire instead.
So it wouldn't make sense for them to pick Kai'Sa in this composition because they clearly want to split the fight. Kai'Sa wants to be jumping in, so they should have picked up the Jhin here because they're creating all this space, and Jhin works really well with that, with the Thresh, the Skarner, the Gangplank putting down the ultimate. If Fnatic lock in the Jhin here, they literally snatch a huge asset off of Tricked's hands right here, and I don't know if that was worth it for an Orianna because you also have things such as the Syndra that are still in there that create space, that work really well with the Gangplank ultimate. So I'm really worried because Jhin works wonders for the side of Fnatic here, and if they snatch the Syndra as well, it's like I'm actually furious. I'm like, Tricked, you had first pick and counter pick. You should have done this the other way around.
It's really interesting because, you know, I personally really like Jhin into like a Skarner matchup, for instance. Like Jhin, if he just sits way back from the fight, can still have an impact without being anywhere near Skarner. So that makes it much harder for Skarner to find his ultimate pulls. Syndra's very good at peeling back against Skarner. Like you have the Scatter the Weak.
Do it.
Jinx, maybe. Well, this is the interesting thing because Jinx has been rising a little bit, and you know we saw it in the LEC. And she's not a pick that you can play in every single game because she's very immobile and needs the right setup. Maybe they just thought a hyper carry like Jinx. They wanted to see if the situation suited it, and then they were going to lock it in.
So stylistically for their composition, it also comes down to they have already chosen that Gangplank was going to be the weak sider. Inevitably, they're probably going to be playing a control mage. If they picked Orianna, they were going to be picking Syndra. So it's going to be the same. So they knew that, all right, we want a hyper carry, AD carry. So I don't think Jhin was ever an option for them in terms of how they wanted to round out the composition in terms of who are we playing for. But with this now coming in, you are really betting everything on Archu on this Jinx. She did just get buffed, more HP, longer range. It's going to come down to how they can play around with that. And I would say that they have the tools to do it, but you need to play a bit more, I don't want to say consistent because it's such an overused word, but you cannot make mistakes with this because it's really easy to punish a Jinx that gets behind just because of how immobile as a player she is.
You guys can play devil's advocate all you want. That Fnatic draft is, again, absolute gold. Lilia has 3 lanes she can choose and pick whichever one she wants. She has set up everywhere, especially even with Syndra in the mid lane. So I just literally want to see Maxi from lane to lane to lane, just grabbing summoners and rinse and repeat.
Well, I think the thing about the trick draft to me that stands out is if Fnatic do make a mistake or they don't get the ball rolling, the scaling very much favors Trick. So if this gets to later stages of the game, like they have the hyper scaling mid laner, the hyper scaling AD carry, the hyper scaling top laner, like they don't really get outmatched in terms of that scaling potential. I'm going to quickly let you jump in, Gulbug, before I hand it over to the casters.
Yeah, I just want to say, keep your eyes on Baloo. He needs to have a way better series. Those Lanterns is going to be what makes or breaks this for you as a team on Tricked here, just because of how immobile your carries are.
Well, I just want to let you guys, how do your hips feel right now? How are your hips feeling? Are they feeling good?
A bit
Because
racy.
you've got to drop them, because we're going to hip drop.
Oh my god.
I like the man with the bad hip because he's an old man is making jokes about that. Anyway, hello, welcome to the caster desk and welcome to game number 2 of this series. Hyperscaling was a pretty key word I picked up on towards the end of that conversation, and Tricked, they need to get this Jinx going because if it does get to late game, you've got the Orianna who's going to be doing so much damage. You've got Gangplank as well who scales really well. Later on into the game, same for a Chu. It's very much, if they don't let Fnatic have a good early and just sit back and don't get a Chu 4K behind Bean, this game could be Tricks.
Right, and this is it. Like, a Chu traditionally is one of Trick's main carries. They tend to play around him a lot. It's like 30% damage share or something nutty like that. As Maxi's going to get a bit caught here. Oof. That's a decent chunk of damage right there. That should force him out. You know, Lilia loves going for that level 1 Raptor invade, so really nice there by Trick to prevent that one from going down. No summoners burnt, but it's fine because you do put a little bit of a stopper there on the Lilia invade and her first clear.
At least Fnatic are going to lean Rux and Bean here to help with the leash, because Maxi obviously getting chunked pretty hard. Now I'm going to be feeling it a little bit as Rux is just going to come give one auto and leave the lane, leave the jungle. We are actually going to have a look at that. Wait, no,
we're not. Okay.
No, we're not.
Okay, that's fine.
I think a button was pressed but wasn't meant to be pressed there.
Yeah, that's okay. So I want to talk a little bit about this Jinx pick here, because we don't see too huge amount of presence for Jinx. Even in this meta, she's been buffed. She's, obviously a very strong carry. She's a champion that can benefit from Gale Force, because, a lot of these low mobility AD carries, can build that and then have that extra mobility as part of their kit. Jinx is one of those champions, but she's just not really seen too much play because I think she's just so vulnerable as a champion. But I really do think that with Trick's draft, it really does set up Jinx quite well. I think, similarly to how Aphelios and Thresh works, I think Jinx Thresh works in a similar way. And then even as the game goes on, like, you can create a lot of space here for Jinx to throw out her auto attacks, whether that's the Gangplank ulti, whether that's Skarner's positioning, whether that's Orianna's just her ball and the control that offers, the Thresh box. It's basically just, in these fights, it should create enough space for a Chu to just right-click the Fnatic Rising squad. And all in all, I think, honestly, he is being set up for success here in this draft. And if Trick want to find success, then that's something that they're going to have to execute well.
Yes. And that's the thing, is they've set themselves up well in this draft. It's a matter of execution now for Trick. Can they make this work? Because if they do fall behind early on in this game, it is going to be hard. Febiven's going to be spiking very hard in the mid game. And Fnatic in general is just going to be spiking hard in the mid game. And it's not like they're a slouch in the late game either. It's just Trick do have a really nasty late game. For now, we are a ways away from that, and it does look like the junglers are just going to handshake the crabs off each. Although Maxi already here first. Paulson going to get a lot of damage put into him. May have to hold that flash, and actually does finally burn it. As Flipper flashes forward, misses the stun, gets scattered back. That was first blood.
Yeah, that should have been. Honestly, if everyone could have flash auto attack Paulson there, you can't juke that. That would have killed Paulson. And as you say, like, I think Flipper had an opportunity to do something similar there as well. Very close here. Game number 2 of our best of 3. Don't forget as well that if Tricks lose this one, then they are going to go straight into the losers bracket. If they want to stand any chance of taking this series, then they can't lose this game, and that all begins in the early game, where they don't want to fall too far behind, because I think Fnatic as a caliber of team, they're definitely someone that has a strong early game. And even, like, you saw what it was last game, even when Trick was able to get a small advantage in the early, like, it's still often not enough. Like, you really can't afford to be behind early, especially.
Oh, nice ward, but the scatter's even cleaner. Paulson, remember, no flash gets jumped onto. They're going to lock him down with the trample auto attack, and Febiven will be given no Rux takes first blood.
That's unfortunate. A bit unlucky there. Gonna burn to the thick of Ignite. Yeah, he did, to be fair. He did earn it right there. It's a bit disappointing whenever you see a laner die when they've got vision down to protect them. If maybe that's just my solo queue jungler being triggered right there. But either way, I think Paulson should respect that. He's got no flash especially. But Rux, really good start here. Didn't have the best of games, honestly, I feel like, in the previous game. So he's off to a roaring start here and securing that first blood for Fnatic.
Absolutely. Now, Febby, this is the Syndra lane at the moment. This will be the Syndra lane for a little while.
It's almost 6 as well. I don't think
Paulson has to be quite careful. 1 minion away. Watch for that scatter once it comes up. There it is. Gets the scatter, gets the orb. The orb's collecting. Paulson is solo killed. Febby.
Nice.
Didn't find first blood, but he did get a solo kill.
That was really well done right there. Got to respect the experience advantage that Featherven has over you when Paulson obviously hasn't been in lane as much as Featherven have. Now, I really wasn't expecting this play to happen because I was looking at Featherven's mana pool thinking, he's not going to have enough mana to combo everything. But then when he actually does use his combo, it actually doesn't really look like he uses a lot of his mana. And I think that comes down to that Tear of the Goddess buy that he's picked up pretty early. It gives him a deceptively high amount of mana, even when he's low on mana. Like percentage-wise, it's still a high amount. Strick's gonna get baited here.
Yeah, Rux gonna get caught out, but it's Blue who's gonna be receiving a whole lot of hurt from Maxi here. Now, actually, with the rockets coming in, the cannon barrage is there. They've actually got the Skarner making their way over. Blue gets slowed by the Swirl Seed, but Flipper's got Impale, being able to get away thanks to the slow from the trap.
Man, Flipper was there just a little bit earlier, so he was there to counter that play in time. That definitely would have been something that worked in Trick's favor. He's zooming in with that Predator. Predator as a summoner choice, or sorry, as a rune choice, I should say, is superior engaging fights just like that. You often see Skarners also take the phase rush. That's a lot better for once you're in the fight. You can grab someone with your Impale, and then you pop the phase rush, and you drag them all the way. Oh boy.
Maxi sticks. All he has to do is hit that Swirl Seed, and he has. Lilting Lullaby, ready to fire if needs be, but Flipper just going to get cooked by the passive, and Fnatic get themselves a kill onto the jungler, and their reward will be this Cloud Dragon.
That is a bit unfortunate there for Flipper. I'm looking at the minimap and seeing like why would you go for that play? Because you got picked off by the jungler, the mid laner, and the bot. But honestly, when I look at the position of minion waves, I really think that Tricked was under the impression that Fnatic had gone for a reset. He thought it was safe. You know, Skarner, when he's fighting on those spires, has high attack speed, can take neutral objectives really, really easily. And so maybe he thought it would just be free for him. But I think Fnatic did a really good juke there to stay in. But here,
Bean.
Tricked.
Rux, actually. They find the hook onto him. The Deadly Flourish goes wide, and now a Chew with a Get Excited. Nice and speedy. Being able to buy a bit of space, dodging out on the zap. And he summons the Curtain Call now. Chew takes one. Chew flashes and takes a second. Bending the bullet. Baloo gets hit as well. Bean, that was flawless.
That was really, really well played by Bean right there. Perfect accuracy on that ultimate, and oh my goodness, it just feels bad, man. I'm sure you flashed to try and stand behind Baloo, but it just wasn't happening. But a little bit over chasing right there. They got the first kill onto Rux. That was really nice. They stuck in that bush, you know, and they were able to pick him off, and that's great. You get a kill onto Jinx, but just that following chase here, we're going to see, you know, Rux is already pretty low on health. It doesn't take much to take him down, and when that kill's gone, that's that. Walk away, lads. Walk away. But they don't. They keep chasing. They take loads of damage from the minions, a little bit from Bean as well, and then just flawless accuracy right there. Really, really well played by Fnatic AD Carry. Yeah, that was proper good there.
So, a note. The Rift Herald was taken by Fnatic, and if you have a look at the inventory, Febby's been sitting on it for a little while, but he's had a QSS in his inventory, so paying a lot of respects towards Flipper and kind of paying that tax already. This time, the ward is seen. It was actually Rux who did that last game,
it's
I believe.
Thresh, you know, I think it might be the champion that's a little bit blind. Yeah, he's going to spot that one out, get rid of that control ward right there. And that is something, honestly, like, just the passive benefit of playing versus Skarner, or I should say the benefit of playing with Skarner and drafting him for your team, is that QSS tax. Like, it's talked about a lot. Bulborg mentioned that exact phrase on the desk. Obviously, I'm sure you've all seen the Zanzara interviews where he talks about people paying their taxes. I love that man. Like, he was brilliant at E-Masters, and now we get to see him with those interviews on LEC. Nothing makes me happier. But still, that is a benefit of having Skarner, is like, even if you do fall behind a little bit early, and if you are trying to scale, you know that the enemy team's going to be put behind a little bit of gold because they're having to pay that tax. So that does give you a little bit of, a bit more of a window, a bit more time to play while the enemy team hasn't quite gotten 100% efficiency out of their gold they've accrued, because they are trying to pay that tax. And here comes a speedy Maxi.
Yeah, and Rux is just going to guard, post everything. Is able to click on the lantern, though, and that is going to be a chew out of there. Flash burnt by Rux to find
Yeah,
that
that
pick,
is-
and didn't ultimately actually mean anything.
So here's something that's really important about the way that Maxi is playing this Lilia, and you have to take advantage of this if you are playing Lilia. Lilia's passive, whenever she hits things with her ability, she gains a stack of movement speed, stacking up to 5 times. And you know what? I'll hold this still right here because we are going to get the Retail to slap down in mid. This should be first blood tower in that mid lane, opening up the most important tower of the game. 11
This
is
might just
in.
be Paulson dying. So close to going down. Flipper, he can't actually go onto Febby. Febby has the QSS, and recognizing that, Flipper doesn't even bother burning the Impale.
Okay, so 2 charges there. Getting that extra charge on the second tower is quite nice there as well, but there's not really too much that Trick can do. And as our observer is very nicely highlighting for us here, the passive here from Bambi, she gets extra moves when she hits things, and as you saw in that bot lane play, she just finished her Krugs and had 5 stacks of her passive up, so she's able to zoom from Krugs straight into that bot lane gank, which just really makes it really hard to defend when she's just zooming at you at 1,000,000 miles an hour, which is something that kind of gets underappreciated when you're playing versus Lilia, just how fast she can collapse on top of you.
It might actually be looking to try and push a little bit more into this top side. Shoving the wave in. Calibrage is being used by Nilly, and he's just zoned off the tower. He's going to finally catch it. Meanwhile, bot lane, this is starting to be a little problematic. The Chu's got a lead over Bean, and because of the pressure that the Skarner was putting down towards the bot side earlier on Flipper, Bean actually had to be zoned off the tower, which meant they were able to pick up a bunch of plates for a Chu, and you can see the gold difference between the 2 AD carries. This time, a Chu is the one with the lead. It's not as substantial as we saw in the last game, but there is a lead building. And now, Febby in the area, there are some wards, there are some traps to come in for flank wards for both Pride and Febby to teleport down to. So, do have that to work with, but Fnatic, they need to defend this tower because it's only a couple away from a Chu just taking it.
I think they smell something's up. Maxi's going to be joining the bot side here as well. Here's the engage.
There's the ulti already going to get popped. Roxy's coming in, gets himself a free 2-man knock-up, sorry. But Chu just firing away, but the curtain has been called, and Maxi gets the first kill. Flipper's getting jumped onto. The scan of the week will secure the next as the Drowsy lands. Nearly slammed into the wall. The shockwave lands onto Febby, but he's not even in the tower. It's a double kill for Pride. It's a triple kill for Maxi. And Fnatic get a clean ace.
Oh boy, 13 minutes into the game and a clean ace. Oh, that could not be worse for Trix right there. And they were the ones starting that play. They were the ones seeing it, wanting to make it happen. And my goodness, did that not go well for them. But a perfect response from Fnatic. Turn the play around, get themselves loads of kills, get themselves plates. They're going to get themselves the dragon as well.
Pride kept cancelling the reset. I actually think if Pride hadn't reset, they would have got this putt. Are they going to get that plate? Oh, they did. Okay, cool. And the tower plates finally fall off. Second tower as well. That was a lot of plates injected into Pride as well off the back of that. And well, the whole team. You can see the gold lead on all of the players now. Only 100 between a Chu and Bean. But mid is terrifyingly big right now.
Yeah, it's... Okay, so I was looking at the gold totals like just before that play started because Chu had a 500 gold lead on Bean, but Fnatic was still 2,000 gold ahead. Fnatic are now, what, 6,000 gold ahead? So they got like 4k gold just from that last play right there. That is just ridiculous. That is a huge swing if ever I've seen one. And here comes Rux.
Nearly.
Yeah, omnipresent Rux. He's in for another play.
Well, this is the last standing tower. Just going to bop him out of his plates, and it's going to be a nice and easy kill for the jungle and support duo from Fnatic. Let's have a little look at all this action once again.
Yeah, here we go. So it starts with Trix. They see this opportunity. The tower's low, thinking maybe Fnatic are going to go for the engage, baiting a Chu. But it really is not Trick that's baiting. It's Fnatic that's baiting. That's a double TP right there. 5-on-5 in this bot side. In fact, I think I might be lying because this is GP. Am I blind? I am. It is. It's a 5v5. Excuse me. Should have gone to Specsavers. And just pure domination right there. Like the champions on the side of Fnatic are just so much stronger at this point in the game. So much stronger. It's not even close.
I mean, and the reason why is if you have a look in the bottom middle of your screen, you can see the items currently picked up. Maxi, Medjai's, and Zhonya's 2 items, while Flipper sitting on a Barmies, a Null Magic Mantle, and a Cloth Armor. Finally got the Chem Tank, okay. All right, make me look stupid, Flipper. Mid lane, you've got the Luden's Echo and the QSS finished up, while Poulsen sitting on components, not even all of the components of the Lost Chapter, and a Verdant Banner. Bot lane, they are a little bit closer. Both of them have their mythic item. That's where the difference is there, but it is really problematic right now for Tricked. They are down a significant amount of gold. There's like going up against a team who are now spiking as well. Like we talked about how Tricked, they have help scaling. They spike great later on into this game, but this isn't late game. We're like only just transitioning really into mid game, and tier 2 towers are being charged at. This is the second charge they've had onto a tier 2 tower from their second Rift Herald, and they are going to be able to take that tower down as well. So top lane completely open now. And this is the tower in the mid lane, the state of it, the health bar after that last charge. Fnatic may just look to try and tidy this up and accelerate that gold lead even further. Now, a big shockwave could come in. Everyone's on the ball, so 4 members caught out, but the damage is negligible. The super mega death rocket just tickles Fnatic, really. The Deadly Flourish connects into Poulsen. He's going to be chased down. Eep, watch out. Maxi finds the kill.
Beautiful stuff right there from Fnatic, playing the map remarkably well, getting 2 extra towers there, really running away with this game, only 7 minutes into it, as you mentioned. And Tricked aren't able to really achieve anything on any side as a response. Honestly, I think, you know, it comes down to that big play that happened bot side. Clean ace for Fnatic, like 30 minutes into the game. But when you're Tricked, you're not drafting for like a 13-minute play. You know, you're drafting for a 30-minute play. And you're just putting the trigger way too early. Fnatic outclass you at that point in the game, like just massively outclass you. And you just get punished for it. You know, you should just be chilling out at this point. You should just be chilling out. And then as the game moves forward, you know, if the game wasn't as accelerated as it was, then maybe that play that we just saw where Fnatic pushed the mid tower down, maybe that happens at like, you know, 25, 30 minutes into the game. And at that point, you can do something. You know, maybe that shockwave actually hurts people. Maybe that super mega death rocket does some work. Maybe a Chu can get some more attacks off. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just not. You're not playing to your strengths. You're not playing to the strengths of the draft, and Trick's being punished for that very heavily here by Fnatic.
Feeling it. 17 stacks onto Maxi. 3 QSSs have been finished up onto Fnatic Rising. So Flipper, his windows of execution have narrowed rather significantly.
Yes, I agree with that.
and he might be getting
who can you grab?
His window executed right now. Pepe's coming in on the flank, trying to search with that force of will. They actually flash onto the one member without the QSS, pulling him in with the lantern into the cannon barrage. The 2-man headbutt pole comes in. Here is Runt, a 3-man knockback. It's an absolute whitewash right now, as Pride is doing an absolutely disgusting amount of work. The shockwave lands, but he won't go down today. It's a double kill for Pride. Maxi slides in to make sure they get the next one, and only one of Tricked stands.
What an engage there from Fnatic to turn it around after Tricked. Again, they're the ones looking to make it happen at the beginning. Fnatic are just making it look like they're vulnerable. They make it look like Tricked can get in on them. They make it look like Tricked have a window. But as you say, those windows are so slim right now. Even when it seems like you have one, you don't. You don't have one. They're like that gif of the dog that's walking around with like limping, dragging its hind legs behind, and then just stands up and it's all good. That's Fnatic right there, you know, and they're perfectly baiting Tricked into these plays. And every time that they do so, they just extend this lead. It goes further and further and further. And that's going to do a lot, actually, for a Chu. It does pad his damage stats by 300, so there's that.
There we go. That was definitely a call an ambulance, but not for me. Moment.
Yes, that's a better way to put it. There it is. Flipper with the chem tank into the flash engage with the interaction with